What's going on, guys? Blake here again with another deck profile, another Thunder deck profile, but this one is a bit interesting because on the weekend I went to Central Regional here in Sydney, Australia, and actually did very well. I ended third in the day overall, and that was enough to net me a nice little mat, a nice little deck box, and it was all with these little birds. So what I'm going to do is jump straight into the deck profile, and then I've got like a summation and then kind of wrap up of how the day went and how the deck performed. So stick around for that and let's get straight into it. So we start off this list with a pretty standard Flunder lineup. I'm going to go through it kind of quickly. 3 Rabina, 3 Eglin, 2 Stree, and a Toucan. This is really standard. It's pretty much been this way in all of my deck lists involving this deck and a lot of people's deck lists. It's not just a me thing. This is just kind of the standardized way that this deck is played at its most optimal level. The Toucan, honestly, this is just such an MVP. It's so good, but I actually did consider running it at 2 at one point, but I don't think it's that good, unfortunately. To round off the little birds, we of course have 1 barrier statue as well. Again, crazy card. If you can protect this thing, it just wins you so many games. It is ludicrous how good this card is. We have 2 Empen. I will definitely not be playing 1 at any point. 2 is absolutely correct. Every single time this comes up, it just honestly reaffirms in my mind that this is absolutely correct. There have been multiple occasions where I've gone into the second one. There have been multiple occasions where I've used the second one to break boards. There have been multiple occasions where we've gone into a grind game, and if I didn't have it, just wouldn't have won. I've used Rise already, or I've used Apex, and then you just need to go search another spell. You can search a variety of really good Thunder spells with this card. It is an amazing floodgate. Yeah, I just played it too. It doesn't brick. This deck just doesn't brick currently. 1 Apex Avion and 1 Riser to round off the level 7s. These are, again, pretty clear and obvious. Riser was amazing all day. Apex came in once or twice and absolutely did its job. For the hand traps, 3 Ash. I think people are starting to catch on that Ash is still the best hand trap in the game right now, generically speaking, but it performed so well for me all day, and it was used against me a bunch all day, which again makes sense because I think people are finally starting to crack on to the fact that this hand trap is so silly and it hits so much. It helps with adventure stuff. It helps with PK stuff. It's just everything. Just use Ash. Don't worry. Do not worry about it. Now for the best hand trap that we can play, Dimensional Shifter. Wow, what a card! This passed numerous turns. Over the weekend, there was a lot of games that came down to, oh, you've shifted me, just go. I don't want to get rid of this. Or there were occasions where even Sword Soul game 1, I would shifter him and he would lose a lot of value just trying to do things that ended in him banishing cards. Yes, it kind of collides with the tangy stuff, so I ended up siding them out versus Sword Soul, but it even came in handy there. So yeah, honestly, just a staple. It's an amazing card. It did very well for me all weekend. To the spells now, we have 3, of course, of the new powerhouse in the deck. The new consistency card, the new dodge card, the new win in time card. This card is phenomenal, and it is as good as I thought it would be. I was really hyping this card up. I thought it was going to be amazing, and it honestly was all weekend. There wasn't a single time this card was dead. I'm not going to say you won't ever draw it dead. I'm sure there will be times, but every time I saw it this weekend, it was fire, and I honestly would not change this, and I will never probably drop it down to 2 because seriously, this card is amazing. There were so many occasions where, especially against Sword Soul, they had Xixiao, I think that's how you say the synchro, and they were trying to get a bird on board, and you would just jam this down. They would lose the negate, you would go plus and get your normal summon. It was just disgusting. It having access to get you map in case your first summon is negated, then you just use whatever you have on board to go get map, and you continue to play. The other thing as well is, yes, 500 life points in time. It didn't come up, unfortunately, but it can, so that's fine. I played 4 copies of map. There was an argument here to drop the terraforming. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't, and it worked perfectly. There was not a time I drew double map. There wasn't a time I drew terraforming map, which, yes, can be very lucky. I totally understand that. There is an element of RNG to running this because, yes, you have the idea that map also searches you Advent also searches you map. However, when I drew hands that were like this, or this, it doesn't matter. The hand was amazing because what you can do is you can use Advent to go get Eglin, then Eglin with map, so that the Eglin pretty much will always go off. You dodge Ash that way, and making sure that Eglin doesn't get negated is a very key part of how this deck wants to play. Going into the consistency cards, 3 Pot of Duality. These are, again, disgusting rarities. I apologize. I'm hopefully fixing this soon. And 3 Pot of Extravagance. That is it. I actually sold my Prosperities. I sold my Prosperities before the weekend because I am building Pokemon. I'm going back into Pokemon now. Thankfully, we've been waiting a long time. And with Brisbane Regionals coming up for Pokemon, I wanted to build the best deck, and so I sold my Prosperities and then decided to go to the Regionals. I had already booked it, but I wasn't sure if I was going. So yeah, it just turns out I just didn't take Prosperity. I'm going to be honest, there was a couple of scenarios where I would draw double Extrav or something, which, you know, sucks, but it was fine. There was one occasion where Extrav, the 2 cards Extrav drew me were ballistic. It was a Imperm Lightning Storm. So I just went Imperm, so Lightning Storm the back row, Imperm the Xixiao, play my game. So yes, it has come up. Honestly, if you've got Prosperity, probably play a similar list I had before, where you go 1 Extra, 3 Prosperity, 3 Duality, but you know, it actually didn't come up, and I appreciate that I could play a more budget list and still do well. 1 Unexplored Wins rather. I'm going to talk about this card a little bit more later. Just not in the next part, but I'll just go over this later when I get to the trap. But this card was phenomenal all weekend. The draw of it came up once or twice, and it normally comes up in more grind games. And I didn't have many grind games this weekend, but yes, amazing card. 1 Called By. I was debating taking this out, and then it just kept performing. It just did a lot of what I needed it to do. There were a couple of occasions where somebody tried to draw me and you just got rid of it, or somebody tried to ash me and I didn't have the chain block because my hand was kind of bad and I just had the Call By, or I set it in my opponent's turn and used it to get rid of a boot, used it to just deal with problematic stuff that was there. Honestly, yeah, amazing card. I absolutely will keep it at 1. Then we play 39 cards. I couldn't work out, when I took out the Prosperities, I couldn't work out a 40th card to play, so of course we play Upstart. Now, that's the spells done, and I'm going to use this time to just quickly go over kind of what I think about this spell lineup, because I think it's important. We have other options to play, and the biggest one I found is Book of Moon. I think Book of Moon is a terrible card. I think Book of Moon doesn't have a place in this deck, and probably will not have a place in this deck. It doesn't do anything, and by that I mean the theory behind a lot of what this deck list was for me is consistent as possible, and if it's not a consistency card, like this, or this, or yeah, in terms of spells, that was it. If it's not a consistency card, it has to do enough for me to warrant it bricking my hand sometimes. This unbricks my hand, unbricks, I say, but it's not a non-card, so I don't count this, so we throw this out. This absolutely has shown me it's good enough to be in my hand. It has unbricked my, or not unbricked, but it has made my 1 summon hand, which can just be destroyed by 1 ash, or 1 summon into a droll, and I kind of lose from there. It has fixed those situations for me. It has stopped my opponent in occasion. So yeah, I think this is absolutely worth it. And this is a searchable one-of that just destroys my opponent's board. Other than that, these are all consistency cards, and that is why I play them. Book of Moon doesn't contribute to your combo. It doesn't dodge anything well enough that Advent just doesn't do the exact same thing, but better. Yeah, I think Advent is a strictly better version. The flip face down sure can potentially work against the Griffin or something like this, but it is absolutely not worth bricking your hand over having a Book of Moon to set and then you haven't done your combo and you just flip something face. It's worthless. And if it's about protecting the barrier statue, we have this, so you don't need it. So yeah, I would highly recommend just dropping Book of Moon. I don't see a point in the card. Going to the traps now. Triple Imperm. I'm going to be honest, this didn't do much for me all day. There was one occasion where I got to imperma Chichao and then blow up his back row with Lightning Storm and play my game, but I'm going to be honest, yeah, there wasn't many occasions. I versed some Prank Kids, and I versed BA, and BA was okay. Sorry, Phantom Knights rather. Then, but other than that, it just didn't come up. Obviously, I will be keeping this at 3. I think it's worth sticking at 3, but it just weirdly didn't come up for me. And the last the last card in my deck is Dreaming Town. What a phenomenal card, but I just wanted to get something out. I just want to get this out. So, why I want to talk about these 2 cards is I've noticed opening one of these is absolutely phenomenal. The amount of times, for some reason, I drew I drew the trap, or I drew this, and yes, it's a very telegraphed play. If I search the Unexplored Winds, they know I have the trap in my hand. If I play the Unexplored Winds raw from my hand and then set a card, they know what's coming, but you can't do anything about it. It is such a phenomenal play to set Unexplored Winds up and have the Dreaming Town. There's so many scenarios where I had Barrier Statue up and they tried to normal to get over it, and I can just tribute their monster that they're trying to attack over it with instead of having to use the Book of Eclipse effect. And then I keep this in grave for the next time I summon and then can book an Eclipse on a board. It's amazing. So I've thought about bumping the trap up to 2 just because of how good opening the trap is. But again, it's about the consistency of the deck, and the deck is quote unquote supposed to brick. I got told that a couple of times over the weekend, but again, I bricked one hand of all my rounds. So, you know, it'll happen. We'll move on to extra deck because it'll take me half a second to talk about it. Just play 15 random cards. Actually, you know what? Don't play 15 random cards. Play cards that are easier to write on a deck list than Divine Arsenal, AA Zeus, Sky Thunder, or Tri-Brigade, Shurag, the Ominous. Just find the cards that have the least amount of words in it and just play those. I say this because in all of my testing, I have not used the Zeus package. I haven't used Appaloosa. It just hasn't come up. Yes, technically speaking, it is more correct to just play like double Zeus, double Downed, some Lyralisk stuff, and the links. And if you have them lying around or can get them for cheap, sure, do that. But so far, it literally just hasn't come up. I wouldn't even bother to talk about it, or the reasoning why I play any cards in there that I do. So now we're going to move on to the side deck, which was great all weekend. I'm really happy with my sides, and I will tell you. Genuinely, I don't think I'm changing any of these. So let's go straight into it. So 1 Dark Smorg, didn't come up, didn't side it. I'm keeping it. I don't care. I do not want to play against set 5 decks. They hurt me so much, and they just mean I just have such a terrible time playing. It is unwinnable. The matchup is near unwinnable if you go second and they just go set, and you just cry in a hole. So yeah, if you're able to get up on them and you're able to make yourself go first, it's a searchable, just complete dumpster of their entire deck. Triple Dark Ruler, I did brick on it once, which kind of sucks, but it's a phenomenal card, especially with what's in the game right now. You can get over adventure boards and stuff like this, which is amazing. They can't do anything with the Griffin. Yeah, again, this card's amazing. We know this. But yeah, stick it at 3. I sided it on pretty much every game when I won game 1. Triple Lightning Storm, the MVP of the weekend. We know, I understand. We know it's an amazing card, but just in terms of my weekend, this card put in so much work, punishing really greedy players for oversetting against me, punishing Altergeist for not having the judgment in the back row because I played Altergeist, punishing, there was a Prank Kids player that, yeah, essentially set 3 and had Prank Kids stuff up, and I just went, yeah, no, okay, get in the bin. So yeah, they were amazing. It pretty much came in every single time I was going second. A late inclusion in the deck because I wanted to take out my evenly matched is 2 Cosmic Cyclones. Amazing. This won me my first round. It was I had Secret Village put up against me, and before he was able to summon the Multifaker, I just changed. When the Multifaker activated its effect, I just changed Cyclone, and then I kept playing my game. I think I will actually probably keep these in. These seem good enough to have. I'm not sure. Depending on how much Altergeist and stuff we see, it might be less relevant than I think, but yeah. 1 Harpies, I didn't actually side it. I might make this something else. I think the Storms are more than enough. Yes, this is probably better in the middle of the game or something like this, but so far it hasn't come up, and I don't love citing one-offs, if I'm honest, unless they're searchable or they do something ridiculous, and I don't think this is actually too ridiculous. What is ridiculous, however, is this little package. I will always have these. The amount of games this would have won me if I'd seen it, or did win me because I did see it, is ridiculous. The amount of decks this absolutely demolishes right now, especially when you talk about Prank Kids, for example. There was a board where he had to respond to this because I played it down first. As soon as I played he went first, set up his board, and then I jammed the D-Fisher, and he went, oh no, because he can't do anything as soon as it's up. So yeah, phenomenal card. As I said, I cited it going second because I knew I would be able to just play it onto the board and force him to just try and remove it or negate it or something. Otherwise, his deck doesn't function. And again, same with this. If you go first, it's just a win more card. Neither of these are too good versus Sword Soul, but what is good versus Sword Soul is my last 3 cards. D-Baz. Yeah, I love this card. Again, a turn passer for Sword Soul, they can't do anything. They can try and set up some tangy garbage, but you really don't care about it, especially because if you are playing this card, you probably went first, which means you have some semblance of a board. So you play Dimensional Barrier, they cry in a hole because they can't get over anything or summon anything, and then you just win the game. That's just how this game operates. But yeah, that's the list, guys. I am very, very happy with how it ran. Again, I keep getting told this deck's meant to brick. We have so many one-card starters, so many consistency cards, and when it's built this way, I was just opening gas pretty much 95% of the day. So I'm going to hop into a little bit of a breakdown of the weekend, but I'm also doing a podcast with all of my mates over at Cowboy for Game, which is my locals group as well. So I will include the podcast link when it goes up in this description. I'll just have to edit post like later on when it comes up. But yeah, let's get straight into just how I went overall. Alrighty, I just wanted to kind of get the deck list up behind us because I think maybe the recording was good, but I think the cards were a little bit blurry. So in case you want to just see the deck list as a whole really quickly, it's all here. I don't think this extra deck is right. I don't particularly care. As I said, it doesn't matter. I'd refer to the video if you super care about the extra deck. But yeah, I just want to go over my rounds and kind of the decks I played against, some interesting things that came up and how I think the deck ran overall. So I played against one Altergeist, a bunch of Sword Soul, and a bunch of adventure garbage featuring PK Adventure and Prank Kids Adventure. There was pretty much, yeah, it was almost entirely meta except for the Altergeist, which was my round 1. Interestingly enough, the Altergeist player, as I said, set up Secret Village, and Cyclone actually got me out of that. I went Cyclone Twister, the back row, and then just played the game. Other than that, pretty much all of the day I was having very, very short games except for one. Most of the time I was setting up pretty much an unbreakable board, or at least checkmate with Barrier Statue and M-Pen, and then a way to defend the Barrier Statue. Or I was opening a way to break the board, use Advent to play through negates. Abusing this card to play through negates and netting you the bird you need a lot of the time was amazing. There was one occasion where, again, my opponent was doing DPE garbage and I was just able to, okay, Advent, go get Stree, get rid of the DPE. It's just, Advent allows you and is the kind of the catalyst to doing the play you want to do a lot of the time. A lot of the time before Advent, you would look at a lot of hands and kind of go, okay, I could play out of this if I were able to have an M-Pen in my hand already instead of having to search it off Eglin, or if I was able to use Toucan to add back M-Pen and again go, or add back the trap and then go again. Advent just makes all of these things possible, so yeah, cannot recommend it enough. As I said, pretty much all of the time I was opening a bird plus Advent or a bird plus map, and then a way to kind of function around that. Shifty unfortunately didn't see my hand too much over the day. I was able to just get essentially two turn passes besides maybe just a Griffin from the Phantom Knight Adventure player. Losing the dice roll kind of sucks, but when you open Shifty against them, it was great. I think that was my round 2 and I won 2-1, and I won as time was called. I was able to go Riser, push 2 things back, hand deck, go into battle phase, attack for game. Happy days. Very, very happy with that play. Other than that, my last round was against Prank Kids, and we were joking about how it's pretty much an unwinnable matchup for the Prank Kid player. This deck just does so many things that Prank Kids can't deal with. Again, one is highlighted on screen. Dimension Shifter is too much for the deck to handle. Siding in more ways to banish is too much for the deck to handle. It is, and then, you know, getting the barrier statue up and then making sure that whatever Prank Kid they normal summoned was dealt with, they can't play. There was no way to play around it. The adventure stuff worked very well against me this weekend. The games I lost, the games I lost rather, not the matches, but yeah, the games I lost were a lot of the time due to setting up Griffin plus the bounce plus just other garbage with backing it. I was able to play around Griffin most of the time because realistically, a lot of people do negate the wrong thing. They'll see me search a bird or something like this, and then they'll negate map, and I go, sure, man, you know I have the play in hand, but okay. There was one Sword Soul player, to his credit, that knew exactly where to stop me, and it was a pain in the ass. But that was in game 2. Game 3, we were able to just blow it out and win, which was amazing. My only loss of the day came to Sword Soul, and it was the guy who ended up winning, or the kid who ended up winning. He was a 13-year-old kid. Absolutely good on him, killing it. Played spectacularly. He won the dice roll, went first, set up Baron, Chi Xiao, and Blackout, which is near impossible for this deck to play around. There isn't many. I don't think there's a single opening hand that isn't a side decked card that would help. Let me look at this. If we go Imperm the Baron, you can't. Blackout just destroys the deck. Blackout completely destroys the deck. With side deck cards, there is something you can do. I misplayed once where I was able to remove one of his monsters, and I forget how. I was able to, I was gonna winz over one of the monsters, and I winzed over Baron instead of Chi Xiao, and I should have gone over the Chi Xiao because he had Blackout, and by doing that I ended up getting Blackout. He ended up using Blackout and just winning. Unfortunately, then game 2 I won, and then game 3 we went into, and I opened up 3 of the 4 level 7s. Level 7s? Are they all level 7s? No, this one's 8. 3 of the 4 big tributed monsters, which just hurts so much. Yo, M-Pen's level 10? What the hell? Anyway, I opened up M-Pen, Riser, and I went, I can't play. I'm just unfortunate. I think he probably would have won anyway, regardless. The opening board from him was great. So yeah, credit to him. That was my 1L for the day. But other than that, the deck ran smooth as butter, and would absolutely recommend it, especially if you're playing on a budget. This deck is not expensive. The Riser is expensive. Obviously the hand trap lineup is a little bit, but nothing compared to, you know, Sword Soul or the Adventure bundle right now, Adventure Core right now. Yeah, I would really recommend it. And plus you get the Ashes and the Imperms. It's staples for your game anyway. The side deck stuff, again, these are like pretty much all staples besides the Banishes and Dark Smorg. So yeah, I would really recommend you guys pick this up. But other than that, I really appreciate you guys checking out this video and my profile, and thank you very much for all the locals boys for helping me test coming up, and we had a really, really lovely time. I might insert some photos and stuff just around of like us with the mats and us at lunch and stuff, because it was lovely. But other than that, make sure to check out the Cowboy for Game podcast that I think this video is going to go up tonight. It's currently like 1 a.m, so I'm going to try and get this video up now. And then tomorrow night, we're going to record the podcast, and so it should be posted, I think, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll ask. But I will include the link in this description when it goes up, so that way you guys can find it. Really, really lovely group of people. Couldn't recommend it enough. Anyway, I'll stop blabbering, and I'll get out of here. Thank you again. Make sure you like and subscribe. Do that thing, and I will catch you guys later.